Okay, for topic 3, we're going to look at finding a monthly payment very specifically with simple interest. I do want to kind of forewarn you, it depends on the class that you're going to take after this. You may talk about a formula that calculates a payment. That is a different situation where you're dealing with kind of like more like a compound interest situation. For us, we're just going to do really basic simple interest stuff here. So again, depending on what you take after this, you may see a different process for this, but that means you're just not using simple interest anymore is all. Okay? So finding a monthly payment with simple interest. What we would need to do is first understand that if you're dealing with a payment, you're talking about a loan. Okay. So we have to figure out how much interest this person is going to owe on this loan. We're going to have to find the future value of the loan. So what is the total value that's going to be paid back? That's going to be the principal plus the interest. Then we have to determine the lifetime of the loan. How long is this loan for? Very specifically in months. And then we can just do a little division and calculate a monthly payment. So this is going to be a multi-part process. Okay. So example 4 here just says find each monthly payment. And for part A, again, we're on the Dexter theme. So Harry borrowed $48,999 to buy a truck. He was able to get a loan for 5.8% for 5 years. What will Harry's monthly payment be over the next 5 years? Okay, so the first thing we want to do is calculate the interest. Okay, so remember the interest is the principal, so 48,999 times the interest rate as a decimal, so 5.8%. We drop the percent symbol and we move the decimal to the left twice, which gives us 0.058. So we're going to take the principal, multiply it by 0.058, and then multiply it by the number of years that Harry has this loan, so 5. All right, and then we would go to the calculator for this. We're going to have to go to the calculator a few times, so bear with me as we flip back and forth, okay? I might do a little side work by hand just to avoid flipping back and forth. Okay, so we had, hold tight, let me go back to the problem. It was 48,999. Okay. Okay, so we had $48,999 was the principal amount that Harry borrowed for this truck. His interest rate was 5.8, so 0.058, and he ended up getting a 5-year loan, so times 5. So at the end of 5 years, Harry will have paid an additional $14,209.71 in interest, okay? So 14,209.71. 14,209. So this is just the interest that Harry's going to owe in addition to the principal amount he borrowed. So let's find the total loan amount. This is kind of like that future value idea. So the total loan amount is going to be the $48,999 plus $14,209.71. So let's figure out what that is. So back to the calculator we go. So $48,999 plus $14,209.71. This tells me that at the end of 5 years, Harry is going to owe $63,208.71. So 63,208.71. 63,208. So at the end of 5 years, this is how much Harry actually has to pay back. Okay, so what we need to do is take this amount and break it up into equal payments over the course of 5 years. So every year has 12 months. Hopefully, we all know that. So if we have 5 years and we need to multiply that by 12 months, so 12 months per year, that is a total of 60 months. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the total loan amount, that's the amount borrowed plus any interest, we're going to divide it into 60 equal parts. That's going to represent Harry's monthly payment. So the monthly payment will end up being $63,208.71 divided by 60. So let's go back to the calculator one more time. So we know that Harry borrowed 63,200. Well, he didn't borrow. This is how much he's going to owe. $63,208.71. That's the amount he borrowed plus any interest he owes. And we're going to divide it by 60. That's how many months are in 5 years. So divide it by 60. And we get that his monthly payment is a whopping $1,053, and we'll do some rounding on the next screen. So hold tight. Let's go to the next screen. So I'm going to do this on my handheld calculator so I don't get the numbers messed up. So what we ended up with was 1,053.4785. We're dealing with a monthly payment. Monthly payments are money. Money is always two decimal places. So we want to round to this 7. Okay, so does this 7 get rounded up or down? We look directly to the right. We have an 8 that tells me to round up. So we're going to say that Harry's monthly payment is $1,053 and 47 cents. No, 48 cents. Bless my heart. I almost screwed it up. We're rounding up here. So it's $1,053.48. And that is Harry's monthly payment. So that's how much he would have to pay every single month for the next 5 years in order to get this car paid off on time. Okay? Part B, Vince. So this is old Vince Masuka from the lab. He works with Dexter. Vince borrowed $30,000 to put a pool in his backyard. He was able to get an 8-year loan at 7.3%. What is Vince's monthly payment? We're going to follow the exact same process. The first thing we have to do is calculate the interest that Vince is going to owe over the course of 8 years. So interest, we take the principal amount borrowed, so that's $20,000. We multiply it by the interest rate. So 7.3% as a decimal, we drop the percent symbol, move the decimal to the left twice. This is 0.073. And then we want to multiply it by the number of years for the loan, which is 8. So let's switch screens again. Sorry for the bouncing back and forth. I just don't have a better setup for a calculator. So we use what we've got. All right, so we had $30,000, which was initially borrowed. We had an interest rate of 7.3%, so 0.073. And Vince has this loan for, I believe it was 8 years. I hope it was 8 years. So we get 17,520. So 17,520. So this is how much interest Vince is going to have to pay in addition to his $30,000. Okay? So we found the interest. What we need to find now is the total loan amount. So the total loan amount is kind of like that idea of the future value. Okay? The total loan amount is how much you initially borrow plus any interest you're going to have to pay back over the course of the loan. So the total loan amount is going to be 30,000 plus 17,520. So the total loan amount here is going to be $47,520. Okay? So there's that. So we know how much interest we have to pay back. We know the total loan amount. What we need to do now is figure out the total number of months over the course of 8 years, and then we can take the total loan amount and split it into that many equal payments. Okay? So in 8 years, for each year, there is 12 months. Okay? So 8 times 12, is that 96? It is, in fact, 96. So this means Vince has 96 months to pay back his loan. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take the total loan amount and we're going to divide it by the number of months in the loan, and that will give us the monthly payment. So the monthly payment is going to be 47,520 divided by 96. Let's scoot over to the calculator one more time. So 47,520. All right, 47,520 divided by 96. And we get exactly 495. So Vince is going to have a monthly payment of $495. So every single month for the next 96 months, so the next 8 years, Vince is going to have to pay $495 for this. Okay, so that is calculating a monthly payment. Understand just the basics of interest, the different parts to an interest problem. Understand how to calculate just basic, simple interest. Also understand how to calculate that total loan amount or that future value of an account. And then also understand how to calculate a monthly payment using simple interest. Okay.